आज की खबरों का विश्लेषण. Welcome everyone. Today we're diving into a massive, overarching theme that connects practically everything going on around us, the ripple effect. We're going to explore how top-level, global, and national events eventually ripple all the way down to, well, our daily lives, our wallets, our commutes, the whole shebang. Let's connect the dots.
Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll be breaking things down into 5 sections: inflation and the common man, the big update on the NEET paper leak, India's diplomatic win, some really important decisions from the Supreme Court, and finally, the country's weather and environment.
All right, diving right into Section 1, Inflation and the Common Man. So this ripple effect actually starts with the most immediate, visceral news right now. You've probably already felt this in your wallet. Global tensions, specifically the ongoing US-Iran conflict, are hitting the common man directly. Just look at the numbers. In the capital, petrol has shot past 97 rupees per liter. Nationwide, we're seeing prices jump by over 3 rupees for both petrol and diesel, and it absolutely doesn't stop at the pump. CNG is up by 2 rupees a kilo, and dairies across the country have hiked milk by 2 rupees a liter. It's basically a 360-degree squeeze on our daily expenses.
Now, to get a handle on this sudden fuel shortage, the central government had to step in quickly. They've essentially slapped an extra 3 rupee tax on every single liter of petrol being exported out of the country. At the exact same time, they cut the extra duty on diesel and aviation fuel. So what's the strategy here? Well, the goal is simple: keep more fuel within our own borders to stabilize the domestic demand.
Of course, a sudden price spike like this is going to draw some very sharp political reactions. We're seeing across-the-board criticism from the opposition right now. The Congress Party stated, "Election over, recovery begins," basically implying that these hikes were purposely delayed for political reasons. Meanwhile, Akhilesh Yadav weighed in, remarking that a cycle is the only option left for the public.
You know, it's fascinating how economic stress in one specific area immediately triggers government action in another. To protect our foreign exchange reserves during this whole crisis, the government actually executed a procedural surgical strike on gold imports. Here's how it works now. A single license can only import a maximum of 100 kilos of tax-free gold. On top of that, importers are now on a very tight leash. They literally have to submit a detailed import report to the government every 15 days.
Okay, moving right along to Section 2, the NEET paper leak big update.
Let's zoom out from household budgets for a second and look at a massive national controversy that is affecting literally millions of students and their families. This whole drama actually kicked off back on May 1st when the exam paper leaked on Telegram. By mid-May, the SBI had to step in. They ended up arresting a chemistry professor from Pune, who they say is the mastermind, along with 8 other people. Then, following a really shocking audio leak out of UP, Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan came out and publicly admitted there was a systemic fault. Now, if you or someone you know was affected by this, the absolute most crucial date to remember is June 21st. That is when the official re-exam is happening.
But the real takeaway from this entire mess? The government is finally completely overhauling the system. The current pen and paper format has obviously proven highly vulnerable to physical leaks and localized corruption. So the promised fix is that by 2027, NEET is going to shift entirely to a computer-based test, or CBT. The idea is to take everything fully online and prevent this kind of physical paper tampering from ever happening again.
Shifting gears now to Section 3, India's diplomatic win.
So how do top-level overseas trips connect back to that domestic fuel crisis we were just talking about? Well, look at this number, $5 billion. Right in the middle of the US-Iran conflict and our own inflation struggles, PM Modi secured this massive investment commitment during his meeting with UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. In the world of diplomacy, timing is literally everything, and securing this during an economic crunch is being widely viewed as a major strategic masterstroke. They actually signed 7 major agreements, but there's one that should immediately jump out at you: a 30 million barrel oil deal. I mean, that directly addresses the fuel shortages and the price hikes we broke down at the start of the video. They also locked in an LPG supply agreement and an MOU specifically focused on petroleum and diesel. It is a perfect example of top-level foreign policy stepping in to stabilize local domestic issues.
And India's diplomatic weight is really being recognized on a much larger global scale right now. Adding to that whole geopolitical backdrop, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has explicitly requested that India step in to mediate the incredibly tense conflict between the US and Iran. He specifically cited India's strong diplomatic experience as the reason for the request.
Let's bring it back home for Section 4, the Supreme Court's important decisions.
No institution is immune to this ripple effect we're tracking.
Following the Prime Minister's appeal to save fuel, the Supreme Court actually instituted a 2-day work-from-home policy and a carpooling system for its own judges and staff. On top of that, the court really took the government to task over some massive disparities in airline pricing. They were demanding to know why identical flight routes can randomly cost anywhere between 8,000 and 18,000 rupees. They also raised some very serious questions regarding the transparency around how election commissioners are appointed.
Now, during these court proceedings, there was also this incredibly stark, highly controversial remark made by the Chief Justice of India regarding the nation's unemployment crisis. The quote was, "Unemployed youth are like cockroaches, becoming media/RTI activists and attacking the system." It's an intensely heavy statement, and it really reflects the deep, underlying tensions and systemic frustrations surrounding joblessness in the country right now.
And finally, we arrive at Section 5, the country's weather and environment.
Before we look at what's coming next, we do need to pause for a moment to acknowledge a truly tragic loss. Over the last 24 hours, severe dust storms and incredibly heavy rain in Uttar Pradesh have claimed 111 lives. It's a very sobering reminder of just how devastating extreme weather can be. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has already ordered compensation to be issued to the affected families within 24 hours.
Looking at the broader weather patterns for the whole country, SkyMet just released their predictions for the upcoming monsoon. Now, the good news is it's expected to hit Kerala a bit early, around May 26th, but there is a catch. The total rainfall is projected to be about 6% weaker than normal, sitting right around 94%. This lower yield brings up a very real, very serious risk of droughts in states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Punjab, and Haryana.
And speaking of the environment, if you live in the Delhi NCR region, you need to pay very close attention to this. No PUC, no petrol. Starting October 1st, 2026, a brand new, super strict rule is going into effect. Basically, if your vehicle does not have a valid pollution under control certificate, petrol pumps will flat out refuse to give you fuel. No petrol, no diesel, no CNG, nothing. This is going to be a massive, completely practical shift in the daily fight against urban pollution.
And that wraps up today's analysis. From multi-billion-dollar global oil deals right down to your daily commute and the price of your milk, we've really seen today just how deeply connected this giant puzzle is. It kind of makes you wonder, right? What global headline hitting the news today is secretly going to change your everyday life tomorrow? But hey, before you take off, it is trivia time. Which country does India actually import the most oil from? Drop your best guess down in the comments below. We'll be randomly picking one correct answer to win a surprise gift. Thank you so much for tuning in. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.